I've been requested to take a look at this latest propaganda. The Beaverton Transit Rebill. Now, I was there. It's been a long time since I was there. My fascination with my TRIMET employer has never really faded away, even though I left, and very few people that leave that place ever think about it again. But I'm one of the few people that I never lost my enthusiasm for the material. So I'm continuing to follow their little fucking scheming bullshit. And there's no activists left. There's not one activist left to call them out. Opal is out of business. Dan Christensen, who was an activist, believe it or not, when I was there, he got in trouble with the Bike Portland Nazis, and TriMet called him in and made him delete his whole blog, which was called TriMet Confidential. It was excellent. And then he became a apologist of all things. But I understand that he's selling his brand. He's got books he's coming out, and he just his social media presence is basically him selling himself now. And that doesn't go very well with activism. You kind of have to be on the apologist side. So anyway, we have this thing here from PSU. Now we know that TriMet contracts with PSU to do all kinds of studies for them, and they pay them. So you're going to get anybody who's involved financially with TriMet is going to give them pro material. So let's take a look at this. Now, I've been gone a while, but I remember when they closed the entire transit center. They put up some trailers. Okay, they gave us little trailers. Those little trailers that you see at construction sites. They set up trailers, and all the people that had a break went into the trailers while they redid the whole transit center, and they had all these porta potties outside. So it was a major reconstruction project. I don't remember the exact date of it, but I've been gone now 13 years, going on 14. So it was probably 15 years, somewhere between 15 and 20 years ago when they redid it. I just don't remember precisely when it was. It happened well into my career there. I know that much, and I was there for 15 years. So here they are doing it again, and it's particularly insulting when they're peddling this fiscal cliff garbage. They're that light rail line to Vancouver will happen no matter what the people think, because we the people are no longer included in the discussions that the elites have with themselves about how they're going to spend that tax money. We don't have a say. We are completely locked out of the process. All we can do is watch as they do what they want, and we do have no control over it. And this goes on with Trump, and it goes all the way to TriMet. Every governmental unit in between is the same thing. The people in charge of these governmental units are all career technocrats or career insiders, career politicians. They're not just regular people like me and you. For example, there's never been an actual citizen on that TriMet board. They're all been appointed by the governor, and they're the governor's cronies. And they're all there specifically to cheerlead along with the general manager for TriMet. That's why you never hear anything negative at a board meeting. It's all rah, 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 shish, boom, bah. We're the greatest in the world. So let's take a listen by demand of one person, actually. And it can be kind of interesting for me, which is why I do it, because I'm interested. I'm interested in the topic. I don't think I'll ever stop being interested with the TriMet and all of the shit that comes out of them. It's just imprinted in my consciousness. And I'm one of the few people. I mean, even Linda, my ex-gal, who was the first female gold grand master in TriMet history, she doesn't care about any of this. I send her calls when they're good ones, and she laughs. But she couldn't care less about TriMet anymore. It was just a job, just a paycheck. To me, it was more than just a paycheck. There was more to it than just getting a paycheck. So let's see what they got here.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for coming out here today. I'm Patricia Kepler. I serve on TRIMET's Committee on Accessible Transportation. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and what your role is with TRIMET?
Sure. So I'm Michael Ferrante. I'm a project manager in the Major Projects Group, and I am the project lead for our transportation centers that we have around the area for the agency.
This is so I'm not plagiarizing any internal information. I'm excited. This is a public video that I'm using to critique. And there's a law saying I can do this. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Right now, we are looking at Beaverton Transit Center. We're redoing that, and then also Oregon City Transit Center are two of our current projects. But I'm really interested to hear what we could do better and helping with accessibility. What are some things maybe?
Obviously bullshit right off the bat because Siemens announced that they're cutting your service and there's no stopping that. I just read. Let me see if I can find it. Where's my? I just read today that something that was put out by TriMet. Let's see if I can find it here, real quick here. There's so many things going on in the world right now. This is the last thing up. You have the Trump psyop, you have the Charlie Kirk psyop, you have the Palestine. Well, that's not a psyop, that's an actual murder campaign. You have the Russia thing. There's so many things going on that our brains are just going to explode at any minute because you can't even keep up with all the bullshit that's going on right now. Let me see where here it is right here. Here's their little TriMet turns to proven agency leaders. Okay. So, as far as I'm concerned, because I listened to the operation, it's been a giant shit show there. She was a fucking bus driver. I guess, I don't know, she was at TriMet and then she left for C-Tran. But these two have been involved with this place forever, okay? And are they successful? I don't think so. But they're good company women, so they've been selected to selected two women who spent decades growing and learning with TriMet, exciting new roles with the agency. These promotions come at a time of historic change, okay? They are part of an agency-wide fiscal efficiency and stewardship. Over the summer, a large-scale effort to reduce costs. Changes to the executive leadership are among the many steps. As we work toward this goal, I felt it was important to begin with the adjustments at the highest level of management, said TriMet General Manager Sam DeSue in pidgin English. As I've also committed to you, we are doing this with care, compassion, and transparency. Bullshit. Okay, he's bullshitting you. The executive, so their answer to the fiscal cliff is to promote people. They're promoting people. That's how they're answering the fiscal cliff. We're giving you a promotion. That's going to help the fiscal cliff. And then here's some stupid ass fucking crap. I'm honored to continue my journey with TriMet. The shit that comes out of them is you can't hardly even read it, okay? It's so stupid. Okay, they did get rid of Bonnie Todd, okay? That I got to applaud them for that because she was useless. TriMet eliminated the agency. See, don't forget, when DeSue started, he reorganized the management already once. I know this because I've been following along. Nobody knows any of this history because I don't follow along. Okay, he eliminated chief operating officer, and now she is chief operating officer is different with a revised scope. Okay, I don't want to read any of it. It's just stupid. Okay, let's go back to this. But that's just some of the crap that we're exposed to here.
Maybe we could do either on the ground or signage or things that may help for navigation around the transit center, because we are making some pretty big improvements around these transit centers.
That's really exciting. So can you tell me a little bit about what's already
It's
planned?
really exciting, Rippy. It's exciting. It's funny how they all use the same fucking words over and over.
We walked around it a little while ago and saw the Falcons. And one recommendation I have for that is that they
equity in your community, right here. Of course, nobody would know what I'm talking about unless you followed this along. They actually bragged at one time that putting these little signs up brought equity to their community. Now, nobody would know that except like three of us who heard it at the time. Now they never talk about this as that anymore. But, back when equity, now everything is like right wing, but just a couple of years ago, everything was so-called left wing. I mean, it's like, okay, we have woke and now we have anti-woke. I mean, the psyops are deep to keep us confused. So they go back and forth, and that's intentional to make sure we, the cattle, are confused. Anyway, this is equity in the community. And Rippy gets that.
include a audio beacon so that they're easier to find. But what else is planned for the transit centers?
So we're going to improve a lot of the way that buses pull into the transit center. So we're going to do a lot of curb realignments. There's going to be service.
All right. What they did to the Beaverton Transit Center was ruined it, as far as I'm concerned. When I was there, every bus had its own bay where they dropped off and loaded. They had their own bay. 67 had a bay, 52 had a bay, 57 had a bay, 20 had a bay, and 88. So when you pull in, you let the people off and you let the people on. Now they got rid of all of that. They make all the cattle get off in one stop, and they make all the cattle get on at another stop. There's no longer service right at the stop, which I thought was a terrible, horrible thing to do to people, is to not let them have a place to sit on the bus. I used to leave my bus wide open. Anybody could get on. And when it was time for me to go, I would jump in my seat and go. No checking fares, I just went. And people, that was just great service back then. Of course, there were a few operators that went around checking fares because, there's a few idiots working there.
A new plaza surface with concrete. We're going to have more signage, new lighting, new security cameras, new shelters. And so we're really going to try to improve the way buses function through the center, but also have those other amenities like signage and lighting.
Really nothing. And you ruin the Beaverton Transit Center. Unless you give buses their own stops again, you can't bring back the customer service you once had. They ruined it. It's ruined.
All those things too. So it's really our opportunity to make some really good changes, and more than just sort of cosmetic changes, but also, again, how can we improve so that everyone can navigate better through the.
He doesn't say anything, It's nothing.
Transit center.
Tell me a little bit more about the partnership with Portland State. I hear you're going to be working with some students, members of CANET. What are you going to be doing?
Yes, we're going to have folks out to help us.
Streetcar eats up like $12 million of the TRIMET budget. Let's just go cliff for this, by the way. It's just the TRIMET services that are getting cut. I don't know why TRIMET is paying anything for this. This should be a Portland thing. But TRIMET puts a whole bunch of money into this. I've seen the figures. I think it's 12 million. I could be wrong. I get confused these days. It's somewhere between 7 and 12. I'm pretty sure. It ain't chump change. No fiscal cliff for the streetcar. No fiscal cliff for the West. The biggest white elephant in the agency.
Walk through the transit center, navigate through the transit center to help us identify opportunities for more either wayfinding or signage, but also anything that we may be able to do on the ground. So tactile or different materials that maybe could help folks know where to board at the common stop, but also just how to navigate through the transit center itself with all the changes that we're going to be doing.
And it's really exciting. I was hearing about different tools earlier today that I hadn't heard of before, like welcome mats, and I think that's so it's really an exciting proposal to make this more universally accessible transit center. I can't wait to see how it comes out.
Yes, we do want to study that and also produce some 3D maps and then also some Braille maps that we could have for the transit center and test those and see if they really work and try to have those available for riders.
Well, that was nothing. It was completely useless interview that meant nothing. So are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? Over and out.